My name is Adam Williams, and you are listening to Retail Redeveloped. I have a very special episode today. I'm being joined by two phenomenal ladies that have built a big brand in the Queen City. I'm here with Carrie Barker and Sarah Baucom. And ladies, if you wouldn't mind, do me a favor, tell people kind of how you ended up here. I mean, we've got two very different stories, two very different levels of expertise, and I would love for you guys just to explain to people how you got here. And I can already see you guys like telepathically speaking to one another. Which
story are we going to tell?
You don't have to keep it clean. Feel free to curse if and where needed. But just explain to people how you ended up sitting here in front of a Girl Tribe neon with a store and a brand that's catching on nationally. I mean, I read an article about you guys in Forbes, which is what I consider kind of the top shelf publication for business.
Is that nice? Is Forbes nice?
Forbes is the jam. Forbes is the jam.
We're very proud of that article, yes.
So I'm going to let you guys arm wrestle for who is going to tell everybody kind of how you ended up here. That's your cue.
You're going to let me start? Okay, so I think it was already been previously discussed that Carrie and I went to high school and middle school together in Charlotte, and we met back up about 10 years after we graduated high school, and it was kind of just a weird time in our lives where I wanted to do something different with my life. She wanted to do something different with her life, and at the end of the meeting, kind of long story short, I was like, I just graduated from a second degree with interior design. And I said, I don't really want to be an interior designer. I don't want to pick out pillows for a living. It just didn't make my heart fly, And I knew that at that point, like I'd already been through so many iterations of living in New York and working for nonprofits and that kind of thing. And so I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of wasted your time, because she was an architect. So I was like, kind of wasted your time. Like, I don't want to do this. I think I'm going to open an online dress shop. And she was like, Cool. Yeah, I don't want to be an architect either anymore. So I started doing graphic design, and I think I'm going to do that. And I was like, cool. Can you do like a website? And she was like, yeah. And that was it. So like I started my own business in 2012 called Social Dress Shop, and then she really started Pink Toast a little bit before then, but really started taking off. And so we worked separately but together. So we had our individual businesses, but she would assist with website stuff. She would help me when I had photo shoots, and we basically launched my business together, even though all the burden fell on me.
All the financial burden.
So you would say that you kind of slowly built up some trust, saw that potentially there was kind of a business soulmate issue going on, and walk me through the day, the glass of wine, the Azteca margarita, whatever it was that kind of aha moment when you guys were like, all right, let's jump in, let's do something together, let's make it official.
I mean, I think we immediately knew there was something special about our relationship. I won't cry. I'm the crier. Anyways, we spent 8 hours at Starbucks just talking about kind of goals and dreams, and it wasn't like, let's get married, let's have babies. Like, it was just like...
Not together.
Not
she
together.
was like, yeah.
Let's live together. We live in the same neighborhood, not together. But I think it was like all about ambitions and goals, and we were very aligned and attuned, but also like coming from very different places. And I think from the beginning, we just knew we had something really special. And I guess right after we started working together, but not really working together, having our own businesses, we even put a photo shoot together because we knew we were going to do something together. We just didn't know what it was. Then in 2014, Sarah had just had her first child and was like, I'm sick of buying people's clothes. Like, I want to have creative control. I want to produce something. And I personally was like, I love graphic design, but I want to design for myself as well. And so together we're like, let's do some shirts. And
I think the funny thing is, if we look back at it, like, even though we felt like we were struggling, we had both like produced our own unique businesses that like actually made money, which like in itself is pretty crazy considering how many entrepreneurs we know.
Yeah, Uber and WeWork can't even say that.
I can't. Yeah. Don't get into that. There's fake money and there's real money.
Yes.
And I'm only interested in real money. So So yeah, I mean, November 2014, we put out 4 shirts, we put in $100 each, and that was the only investment we've ever made into the company. The first 48 sold out. We'd had them at a store called the Boulevard in South End, which is ironically on Camden, which is where our storefront is now, which we definitely could not have seen that, but I think that we felt some things. And then we just had it on Etsy, and like I make it sound so small, but like to us, it was just like, we have always seen ourselves as bigger than we were. And I think that we've always we already went ahead and built our brand and our business, and then we just grew right into it. So any type of growing pains we've had, we've kind of known what we were doing all along a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, from the moment we met, like we knew brand came first. There was all these moments along our own business journey where we kept running into other women and they were starting their own businesses, really in regards to the recession. Like the recession happened, and I think it made everyone wake up, and either you lost your job, so you had to figure out something else, or maybe you were furloughed, or maybe you weren't going to get a raise for the next X amount of years. So like you really had to figure out like what you're passionate about, how you can make money. So we kept running into women-owned businesses, really, who had either been in business for a while or were just starting out when we were, and they became kind of our mentors and AKA Girl Tribe. And so we were like, this is what we're passionate about, is like seeing this community, connecting with other women, seeing them actually make real dollars, not fake money. And so we're like, okay, what can we do? So we started out with the graphic t-shirts, always with the mind of the brand of like coming back to this women supporting women message.
Something that I picked out of that I think it seems really, and I mentioned this to you guys before we started, like things that you guys will say that will seem trivial or seem like just kind of throwaway comments, but really resonate with me, because I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, and it was, hey, let's everybody put in $100. Let's not try to build the Empire State Building. Let's just start. And I think that's very, very powerful. It's a powerful message to somebody out there that has an idea, has a dream, has a brand, has something that they're passionate about, but can figure out 1,000 reasons why they can't, they shouldn't, it's not the right time. What inning are we in before the next recession? So I think that's a powerful statement.
Yeah, I mean, you're not talking to like economic experts here, but like, I think we we know when the bank account goes up, and we know when the bank account goes down, and so the thing for us is just to keep seeing it go up, and how are we going to make that happen day to day? And I think that's always been really important to us, to be able to like tangibly see where we're going and grow smart. I mean, we've had opportunities that we could have grown really fast. We've had investment deals and things like that sort of on the table, and it just like didn't feel like the right thing because we just couldn't see it. And I think we've always been really good at being able to see, even though if it was a big dream, but how to get there. And so for us, it's really been like one step in front of the other. So I mean, we're talking 3 or 4 years in before we even hired one person.
Yeah, I think we've always been really cautious of, in the beginning, especially like, okay, we sold these shirts, we're going to reinvest it. Okay, we sold double the shirts, we're going to reinvest it. Okay, we've sold triple the shirts, now we're going to reinvest it. And until we got like a really good capital padding of our own money, that's when we started making small moves, and then doubling that, and then making again small moves. Like we are always very smart, always looking at our cash flow and always pivoting to make sure it's growing.
I think it's like so funny. I don't know if we've ever mentioned this on anything, but like at the end of our first full year, I think we had $10,000 in our bank account, and we were like, "That's awesome!" Because like we got that from $100, and we didn't know anybody anything, and so we always encourage. We talk to a lot of entrepreneurs as well, and I always encourage them like to do what you can with what you have, because I promise you, it's more like, I mean, $10,000 I get, that's like that's like half of a Birkin, but like I think that it's really important to be able to sort of just see it all laid out, because then we were able to see, okay, this is what made us this, so then we can double down over here, or we can like take this off. And for us, that was really important, especially where we were in our lives. Like Carrie was pregnant within the first year of our business. I had just had my first kid. It was just like, it all felt like crazy tornado, like it does now. But looking back, we were like folding up, shipping shirts out from my living room, dining room table. It's so funny how like to be able to see, but we thought it was sort of a big deal.
Right.
Do you remember a time, maybe it was in that first year, maybe it was in the first Starbucks pumpkin spice latte.
Gross.
What do you remember a time specifically where you guys were like, wait a minute, this isn't a hobby. This isn't something that I'm going to be doing for my living room or for my couch. This is something that's scalable. We think this has a little bit of momentum. Was there a moment? Was it seeing 10K in the bank account? Was it a Forbes article? What was there a moment that kind of made you guys think like, man, this is bigger than maybe we thought it was going to be originally?
I think we always have had ambitions to be bigger, like Sarah said, bigger than we are. I think we've always individually have seen ourselves in like some type of light or national spotlight or something. And like, it's just like, how do we get there? And what's the most authentic way to get there? And we didn't know if it was going to be t-shirts. We didn't know if it was going to be pop-ups, but we knew the brand was going to lead us there, I think is the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So walk me through that. You mentioned something else I wanted to talk to. How do you look at your business and how would you quantify your business? Is it mostly brick and mortar, mostly direct to consumer? Are you focused more on the pop-up now? Is there like a ratio that you guys think is healthy? Does that change, by the day? Like walk me through kind of your business and where you guys are focused now and what's bringing the cash register for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, at this point we have 7 full-time employees. And so everybody sort of has their own unique department, but everybody works together. So we have an event director who manages the day-to-day and every single aspect of Girl Try Pop-Up, vendor acquisition, making sure the invoices are paid, making sure we get the right Penske to drive down there, and she drives it down there. Let's say we're going to Jacksonville like next week, so she'll be driving the Penske. And then we've got a full-time graphic designer that sort of supports all of that. We have a project manager that makes sure that all of these initiatives get pushed through social, that kind of stuff. We have a store manager. We have an inventory manager. So I mean, kind of just seeing how our day-to-day, it's really 50-50. I mean, our employees are 50-50 on it, and we're 50-50 on it. We see the store and the product as sort of one still, and then Girl Try Pop-Up is its own unique thing. And especially when it comes to the end of the year, like when we have that big meeting with our accountant, and we're like, and she's like, all right, 50-50. And we're like, okay, well, that tells us that, like I think that they'll both keep growing at the same rate.
Would you take a moment and describe the pop-up to people? Because I'm probably not your target demographic, unless you're going to start maybe a boy tribe or something like that. I don't know if any of the Panthers shirts would fit me. I would.
They're unisex.
They're unisex.
Yeah.
You make giant sizes. Awesome. Good
Yeah. We go from extra small to triple extra large.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm in. So
You can't call yourself Girl Tribe without inclusive sizing.
Right.
So that's always been important to us. As soon as we had the capital to be able to extend our sizing, we did. Mm-hmm. So for Girl Tribe Pop-Up, it's a large-scale pop-up shop featuring women-led businesses. We'll do 5 this fall alone. We travel with it. Obviously, Charlotte's our bread and butter. We go to Atlanta, Nashville, going to Jacksonville. We've been to Raleigh, Greenville, and Charleston as well. And so the idea behind Girl Tribe Pop-Up was giving physical space to women-owned businesses and teaching the consumer to walk in, not just like them on Instagram or anything like that. It was really physical conversions to know how to buy from them, where to buy from them, and then become like an ongoing customer. And the other idea was that you would bring your own customers, say, hey, come out and see me. I'm at Girl Try Pop-Up this weekend. And then so your customer would come see you, but then she'd also learn about a different brand. And so the idea is that rising tides lift all boats. And that was really, we've seen it in our own business, but we've seen it by every single day being authentic about actually lifting other women businesses up. So anyway, let's say you come to Girl Try Pop-Up, you buy a ticket, you get there at 10 a.m., you get a swag bag, and you get map, and then the map has discounts only for VIP. You get a cool little bracelet that girls collect. So at this point we have like, if you want it, like Carrie's wearing some right now, just like the little like rubber bracelets. But some girls come and they're stacked because they get one from every single one. They come in and we have between 60 and 200 vendors, sort of depending on the size of the event. There's cool music. There's always cocktails, photo moments. And then there's always the things that like we can't quantify, but we feel it. The connections that are made, the inspirational like aspect of the entire event. Of course, it's supporting other women and lifting them up, but the women that come to the event, it makes them think, am I doing what I want to do with my life? How do I live my truth? How do I live the thing that I love? And I think it's kind of this whole thing about leading by example as well. So, but guys can definitely come.
And we have dude vendors too.
Yeah, we have a couple dude vendors. You know, they've snuck in there
Dude
and
tribe.
they stuck around.
So-
They do call themselves Dude Tribe, actually. Yeah.
So going back, so now it's rolling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I mean, it's legitimately rolling. Like I hear about you guys all the time. I mean, it's
Oh my God, thank you.
You have an incredible. Well, I'm a retail nerd. Like I love the homegrown kind of success stories. Also being a CLT unicorn native. But I mean, walk me through kind of the hardest transition point, because right now in my world, in my retail, like macro retail world, there's this massive like direct to consumer, online,
Right.
brick and mortar. Like, is that in conflict, or do they kind of help each other out? Like, what was your hardest moment when you decided like, hey, we're selling these shirts, but did you feel like it would like legitimize you guys to some extent to do a brick and mortar store, or was it just you were doing so many pop-ups that people were like, hey, I want to be able to walk in on a Tuesday? Like, walk me through what made you want to go brick and mortar, and then any like huge challenge or something you didn't foresee, or just walk me through that process.
Our brick and mortar story, I think, is really different from most people's. But I think that our pop-ups and our sort of brand equity in Charlotte is why Katie Grissom came to us. And Katie from Masana and said, hey, I want you guys to do a pop-up store.
Katie's awesome, by the way. What's
Katie's
up, Katie?
awesome. I want you guys to do a store. I have a space next to Blaze Pizza. And I thought she meant for us to do a pop-up on the lawn of Blaze Pizza. And I was like, no. And she was like, it's a really cute little space. Would you guys want to like activate it? Like, we have this whole, basically they're buying out those little storefronts, and this whole empty storefront situation. And Katie's a visionary, and she saw us and she said, do you want this space? And I was like 8 weeks pregnant with my second kid. And I was like, no, I'm not opening a store. It's like, we're about to roll into fourth quarter. We've got 2 pop-ups. Like, I can't do that. But, Carrie and I did a lot of like conversing about it, and we also see the same therapist, so we had like a couple of therapy sessions together to keep our lines of communication open. And I think we were just like, what's the worst that can happen? Let's open for 8 weeks. And the great thing about where we are in the community is that like anybody else would need a ton of capital, but we didn't, because we did all in consignment of all of our local vendors. So I was able to just call up a bunch of girls and be like, hey, do you want to just like drop off some stuff? And then like, I'll tag it, we'll sell it, we'll give you a check at the end of the year. And they're like, cool, whatever. And that's how we started the store. And then all of those people that helped us sign our lease were really gracious with us. And it took us a while to figure out if we really want to do that. So that's
a big challenge. I mean, these leases are no joke.
I mean, it's so daunting, because I was all of a sudden I was like, okay, I'm going to sign this and I'm going to be 40. And then it was kind of like, wait, are we still doing this when we're 40? Do we have a store as 40-year-olds? Or like, was that part of our vision? And then, that being said, and our store is a huge traffic driver for us. We have full-time employees that are just dedicated to the store, and we love our spot. And so I mean, it's been very, just like everything else we do, very organic.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think,
and now we buy everything outright.
I think if you like look years behind that, like the year before we started, we're like, okay, we're doing online pickups. People are coming to our office. How do we capture them? So then we turned half of our office into kind of like a semi-retail spot. Yeah. And we started testing it out. And then like at some point in 2016, I think we even looked at, maybe even beginning of 2017, I can't remember. We looked at retail space, but we got really overwhelmed. Like, we're like, there's no way to jump from people coming upstairs to pick up an order and buy an extra shirt to a full retail space. So I think Katie's conversation with us was pivotal And it gave us a way into...
Casey was there too.
Yes, she was. And gave us a way in to like test it out. And we knew holiday was upon us. So we knew that the purchasing was potentially there. So it made the risk easier. It was going into January, February, immediately after that.
Right.
Really was tough for us.
We knew as a PR move, it was a good move.
Yeah.
To kind of answer that part. Like we knew that like people would be excited.
So let's touch on that real quickly. So obviously you guys, without your tribe, you would just be girls, right? So how women? Am I allowed to say girls?
We don't.
There's a girl there, so it's great.
We don't we don't get all crazy about that.
How you built that tribe? Obviously, your story of empowerment and women-owned businesses. That's a lot. But walk me through kind of the marketing, the PR. Like, was it Instagram? Was it the store? Like, what do you guys think really helped kind of catalyze that tribe and make so many people want to be a part of it? Whether it's just buying a shirt or whether it's sharing your stuff on social, like what marketing or PR strategy or platform, like what was it that you guys think really kind of helped you set it off?
You wanna?
Sure. I mean, I think in the beginning, when Sarah and I first met, we networked. We did, I think, like person-to-person interaction, which I think really helped initially spread the word. And granted, like that's a small network. And then Instagram, I mean, Sarah's so good at Instagram and social. You were so welcome.
So much.
And then I think we also have this Facebook group. I don't know if Kim has told you about that, but we started it in 2015. We had a brunch and we kicked off this whole the actual girl tribe in 2015. The idea being like other business owners being able to come together and be like, hey, how do you get an LLC? Hey, I got this going on. And overnight, that group grew to 1,000 women. And I think at that point, people were really, really desperate for
I was about to say that.
Connection
that
and
to me
communication.
says there was a hole that you guys you guys filled it. You were there and people wanted it and maybe didn't even know they wanted it.
Right.
I think, I definitely think like Instagram and all that definitely helps. But I think where we're at, and I'm a retail nerd too, I think where we're at when it comes to retail and for brand equity and for people to truly believe in your brand, like your girlfriend needs to basically say, you need to get on this brand. This brand is awesome or whatever it is. Like these girls are authentic, whatever. If you're just scrolling through, like sometimes you ever scroll through your Instagram and you're like, I don't even know what brand this is. When did I even start following them? I'm just going to unfollow. Like if there's no personal connection, like it's so hard to sell somebody something. Like it's not going to happen. So I really think like our in-person pop-ups and all the times that we have networked and stuff, I mean, we've just been able to meet so many people. And I think that those like ripple effects probably help us out a lot more than, again, we can't quantify it, but like what makes us different from any other sort of like women positive brand. There's a lot of them out there now. And so I think it's people like really understanding and digging into our story and really liking what we say because they trust us because of a word of mouth situation.
Well, there's that saying that there's no such thing as overnight successes. Most of them are years and years in the making. So you guys put in the work ahead of time. So I want to be respectful of you guys' time. Take me through the future. What do you see as the big, you mentioned, you're not the only, female empowerment kind of focused brand. What do you see as a big challenge that you guys are going to face? Obviously retail is in an insanely fast mutating kind of place right now. Take me through a challenge. Like what keeps you up at night, or what are you guys trying to plan against? What other than kids? Like I've got kids too. They
Are they challenging?
Well, considering my 4-year-old called 911 yesterday when I was.
Oh gosh.
That was nice. That
was just by
surprise.
Accident or just like for funny?
He was trying to unlock my phone. I would not give him the code. Next thing you know, he had messed with it until he called 911.
Oh,
so that was
they probably get that all the time.
Yeah, that was a fun conversation to have with the sheriff. So talk me through kind of what is the next 10 years? What are you worried about? What do you want to try to stay ahead of? What
wrinkles? No, I'm kidding.
Click here for Botox screening.
Sponsored by.
Yeah, I think Girl Tribe Pop-Up has legs. Like, without a doubt, it's always a thing that we've known that we could scale. And for us, it's been able to, dollars in the bank. Can I go to a new city and lose money? Whatever it is, like, can we take these risks? So I think the next 10 years include us just going nationally with it, and just figuring out really financially how to do that with staying authentic to our messaging. Working with the right sponsors and partners. If there's any like larger real estate groups, I don't know, out there that think that we might be good partners for those things, just let me know on that, Adam. But anyways, so, and I think also like more retail shops, we'd been looking in Charleston, like honestly, this whole year, trying to figure out how to make King Street work for us. And at the end of the day, we just realized it wasn't going to work for us. So I think that there's some really special little places in and around North Carolina that would feel really comfortable to us to start a second and third location, really continuing to grow the online brand and kind of see where that goes as well. I mean, I think Carrie and I, from a national standpoint, like we have big goals on our own personal brands as well, which I hate even saying personal brands, but like, I think we have a lot to say, and I think that we're really relatable. And I think we've seen a lot. Yeah. So I think we want to, maybe like a book deal would be fine. That'd be so good. I'd be so good at that. I don't know, Carrie.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're looking at second and third locations. I think we're still figuring out, but like our little South End store is so special to us. And if we can bring that, really, I think what makes sense is us going to different pop-up cities. Like Sarah said, once you get to know us, once you experience a pop-up, once you really just understand what Girl Tribe is, all of a sudden you become a brand ambassador, and word of mouth is so good. So like in my head, I'm thinking we go to Atlanta. It's super successful there. It makes sense for us to have an Atlanta store, and so on and so on and so on. And I mean, who knows how big we can get. I mean,
So Sarah, West Midtown Atlanta, you think?
What's that? Is that Pont City?
Never mind. We'll talk after.
Oh, okay. You're trying to get into
Yeah, Atlanta's like so confusing.
Yeah.
Every time we're there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just in the car for 2 hours and like I haven't done anything.
I've gone 4 miles.
I've gone.
Yes.
I've listened to 10 podcasts. Yeah.
And then as far as challenges goes, I think like literally every 3 months, Sarah and I are looking at everything. I mean, of course, we're looking at the day-to-day, but like, how can we pivot? How can we get ahead of trends? Yeah. I mean, retail is such a beast. And like you said, right now, it's like all over the place. The weather isn't helping us, like what's hot right now, what's trending, fast fashion, the whole thing. I think we're always just trying to pivot, stay light, and move forward. And I think us being sole owners allows us to do that in a small team.
Right, yeah.
So tell people how they can connect with you, where the store is, just how you want people to communicate with you. Let people know how they can.
Okay, so I can do that. So you can find us on Instagram at Girl Tribe Co, and then online our like kind of fashion site is girltribeco.com. You can find all about pop-ups at girltribepopup.com, and then you can find us our first flagship storefront is at 1800 Camden, Suite 102 in South End. It's all pink storefront. You can't miss it, and it's really close to Jenny's.
Yeah, I was about to say, just tell people it's close to Jenny's.
And the Heart Wall.
Follow the giant line to Jenny's.
Yeah.
It's a full South End thing. Get your Jenny's, take your picture, then come see Girl Tribe.
Awesome. Well, you guys have been very, very generous with your time.
Thank you.
And congratulations on all the success and the movement and the energy. It's been really fun to see.
Oh, thank
Thanks.
you.